into some best practices and some things that you really need to be considering. I think we're going to have another poll going up soon, Claire.
We are. I was just, so just on this last poll, it's interesting. 57% of the people who answered are overwhelmed by social media, and 34% are somewhat overwhelmed, and 9% are not overwhelmed, so fairly confident with it. So I think that's a fairly telling, telling number.
And fairly telling why I started my business 10 years ago.
Yes. So the next poll that we have, I'm just going to launch that. So we have a poll coming out. We're just curious from an attendee standpoint, if we have a business to business or business to consumer attendees, and then what platforms you're using. So you'll see a poll in your screen. If you just want to put any answers in, you're welcome to.
Great. So I'm going to keep going while you're doing that. So this is my no sugarcoating message to you about social media. You cannot dabble and be successful. Social media really relies on consistency, on creativity, on knowledge of the tools that you are using. And for most businesses, it requires some money. You need to put in some money for paid advertising. And you need to know how to do it right and not listen to Facebook tell you that you should be boosting a post because it's doing so well. That's just them wanting to make money. There's a lot to a successful ad campaign, and just ignore their prompts when they send them your way. So let's talk about best practices. First and foremost, what we do with our clients and what every business should have is a strategy, a written strategy document. There are templates out there that you can Google and find. There are great tutorials on how to create a social media strategy. And it's really just a best practice. It's like having a business plan. It's just something that you really should have and be able to share with your employees and all of that good stuff. Also plan and schedule your posts out so that it's not so stressful every day. You're trying to think of what should I post today kind of thing. We use a tool for agencies that, we can plan out a whole month worth of posts. You can use tools like Hootsuite. You can even use Facebook's Creative Studio to schedule things out, and that's free. So it's really just such a time saver and a stress reliever. Always keep your target audience in mind. Is what you're sharing going to be relevant and interesting and engaging to who you're trying to reach? Keep it clean and professional. I see so many people using all kinds of crazy fonts in their Instagram bios, and it's just messy and it's not professional. Stick to a single font is what I was getting at. Less text and images. This is so important. So if you're posting images onto your social media and they're loaded with text, they're not going to perform well. Facebook, Instagram, all of the social platforms, they don't want your feed posts to look like banner ads. So you just need to, there's a 20% rule with Facebook, and you should stick to that. There's even a tool where you can test the text on your images so that you're not putting more than 20% of text. We really try to shy away from text. We also really try to shy away when we can from stock images, because other people are using them. They're just not as engaging. It's immediately, that's a stock image. Sometimes you have to, like the breakfast in bed ad. I didn't have a picture of a mom and having breakfast in bed, especially during social distancing. So, but try if you can to have original images. And test how your images render on Facebook, especially when you're sharing articles. Sometimes they look really messy, and you might not even want to share that article if it doesn't appear nicely. And then please say no to selfies. Unless you're an influencer and you're in the fitness world or you're in the fashion world, there's really no reason for your whole timeline to be pictures of yourself. So that's not going to get shares. That's not going to get engagement. And then when you're thinking about engagement, just try to have a two-way street. So let's ask questions. Let's leave comments on other people's social media, engage. That's been rule one since the very beginning. And just don't make it all push, push, push. This is me. I'm so important and your stuff isn't kind of engagement. Study your analytics and do more of what is working. You know, look at the posts and the insights of your posts, not just the likes. It's not about likes anymore. So check out your insights, look what's getting the engagement. And then look at what's working for others. You know, if another brand is doing, you know, something that's really creative, and don't copy, but try to figure out how you can do something similar on your own. And then test, adjust, and retest. And that's really relevant for advertising. And we'll talk a little bit more about advertising later.
So just whilst you're switching slides, Deborah, just to the attendees, feel free to go ahead and put in any questions that you have, either on any of the slides or any of the content that Deborah's talking about now, or even something that's not been addressed that you might want to ask a question on. And then I don't know, Deborah, if you
I love questions.
Yeah, questions are great. Questions, and as I said earlier, if you have a question, chances are somebody else who's listening has the same question. So please don't be shy to ask.
Right.
Deborah, I don't know if you saw the poll results, but so it seems that we have about 86% of the attendees are business to consumer. So
you were right. That's what you had thought. That's the makeup of the audience would be.
So, and then we have about 90% who are on Facebook, 64% are on Instagram. Actually, I could publish this poll. About 50% are on LinkedIn, 25% on YouTube, 32% on Twitter, 36% on Pinterest, and then we have about 18% on another platform that's not mentioned. So for anybody who, I'll share those results with everybody so they can see it, but it's an interesting mix of users and platforms that we have out here.
Sure. Yeah, I would definitely encourage that 36% that's not on Instagram. If you are a business to consumer brand, Instagram is really great. So you might want to work that into the mix. Okay, so this is a perfect segue to what channels are best for your business. You know, you don't have to be everywhere, and all channels are not necessarily going to work for you. It depends on the type of business that you're in. You know, like let's just say a clothing line would be great on Instagram, but you know, something that's like a hardware store, you got to be more creative if you're going to use Instagram, right? So you have to analyze the tools, analyze the users, analyze the content that people enjoy on the different platforms, and see if you're a fit. So Facebook is great for article sharing. So if you are, you know, a person that is looked at for information and great information, and maybe you're a doctor, maybe something like that, Facebook is great for that. Facebook is great for reaching an older audience, and Facebook's fantastic for paid advertising. But your profile can still be helpful too. You know, realtors or anybody, if your friends are a referral source, Facebook profiles, your own individual account can be helpful for marketing as well. Just don't, you know, be too spammy. Facebook groups are great for private upsells. If you're a consultant and you want to create a private group that, you know, you can charge people money to be in this private group. It's wonderful for community building. Instagram is great for B2Cs and advertising, because Facebook and Instagram, you know, owned by the same people, and your ads can show up in both places. And it's great for e-commerce because there's a direct shop opportunity on Instagram as well. Google My Business is great for everybody. Everybody needs to have a Google My Business account and use it more as a social platform than just as a local listing. You can upload photos, you can upload offers, you can upload products for sale. And we are seeing a lot of engagement and great results from that. So at least for like images being seen, it's fantastic. LinkedIn is great B2B environment, great for networking. Pinterest is great for e-commerce, driving traffic to a website. You have to have great content on Pinterest to win at that though. So Twitter is great for news outlets and for networking as well. YouTube is great for explainer videos. So that hardware store might be really great for YouTube because they can create videos on how to use tools, how to repair things, that kind of stuff. And then TikTok is if your product or service, you know, is geared towards young people, that could be. I'm not on TikTok yet. I know I'm going to be forced to someday, but it looks cute. That's all I can say.
I've been on TikTok doing silly dances with my youngest. I guess does that
That's
count?
why I'm staying off of it, because I'm terrified that somebody's going to share it. So
I have a couple of questions.
Sure.
If maybe we can just answer a couple of questions. So from Deanna, we have a question. What about using hashtags? She feels that gets confusing. Do they work?
Hashtags could be a whole other webinar. You know, some people make the mistake of using very popular hashtags, like, you know, in the eating world, it's, you know, nom nom nom, or all the, you know, these very popular, highly competitive hashtags. And really those don't help you much unless you have like a really engaging content, because that hashtag is used so much that you just get cycled through the hashtag page and you're gone before you know it. We love to use location hashtags. So, you know, we'll use the name of the towns that the client serves. You know, you don't want to use hashtags that are really dead and nobody's using them. Yeah, you'll stay at the top forever on that page, but nobody's looking. So it's really a matter of researching hashtags. I mean, we use them, we always use them. And a good tip for hashtag use is to create your list of hashtags like in a Google Doc. And you can have your Google Doc app on your phone. So then you can just go over, copy, and then come back and paste it onto Instagram. And you don't have to constantly, you know, adding your 30 hashtags every single time. You can also group your hashtags based on different products. Like if you've got sundresses and you've got shoes or whatever, you can group those different hashtag groups so that you can just grab and drop them in. It's just a huge time saver. There's an app called Smart Hash that actually tests the different your different hashtag groups and will show you the hashtags that are working the best for you. So that's a really cool app. So that's all I have to say right now. I mean, I don't know how many people are searching hashtags to find new stuff. I feel like they use the search, you know, magnifying glass to find new content, and Instagram delivers that content based on your user history. But it just can't hurt. And like I said, the towns, locations, I love to use those, and anything very product specific. And you can also create your own hashtag around your brand and see if that takes off. I hope that helped.
Thank you. Just a couple of other questions. And if any of them you're going to get to later in the presentation, feel free to say that as well.
Okay.
So what's the best way to keep in front of your customers?
Find out where they are, number one. What channels are they using? And I mean, the best way, hopefully you have an email list, because they are still very effective. And we're using email marketing very much right now, because people are home and they're looking at their emails. So if you have a customer email list, that's the best way to stay in front of your customers. If you want to get to new customers and you want to get discovered by, you know, new people, then being on social media and sharing the content that they like is the way you're going to get in front of new people. And I will talk a little bit about that in our next slide, I think.
Okay, do you want to go on to the next slide? We have a few questions.
Yeah, let's just go a couple more and then we can take some more questions.
Just one quick question about
Okay.
because someone asked about hashtags, another question about hashtags, but do you recommend hashtags on Facebook as well?
No.
No, okay.
No, it looks like you don't know what you're doing. So really Instagram and Twitter are the hashtag places, and Instagram more so because Twitter's limited them to like 2 hashtags now, I think, in tweets.
Okay.
But Facebook, nobody uses hashtag on Facebook. And that's why I hate when people use the automatic post tool from Instagram to Facebook, because it's immediately evident that you're just posting from Instagram over to Facebook and you're not, you know, doing it uniquely. Okay.
Great. Thank you.
So you're welcome. So what type of social media person are you? You know, I hear a lot of, I see a lot of, you know, lessons and advice from people talking about creating images and writing articles and all that stuff. You know, not everyone is a creator. It's, you know, there's the right side of the brain and the left side of the brain. I have the right side of the brain. I love to create. Don't ask me to do math. Don't ask me to do your accounting. So, if you're a creator, then you're a storyteller. You're a storyteller through words and through visuals. So that's what you should be doing on social media and engaging, creating engaging articles, great for SEO too on your blog. Social posts, copy on social posts, have it be clever, have it be smart, have it be, interesting. Creating attractive, interesting, informative, unique, all of that stuff is what a creator is doing every day. If you're not a creator, you can still use social media effectively. It's just that you have to use it as a networking tool and keep that in mind, that that's what you're going to be doing with social media. So we're going to start first about talking about creating. So this is my blog, Jersey Bites, and this is where we share articles for, usually we're writing restaurant reviews, but right now times have changed for that. So we had to kind of pivot in our content and be creative and think about what do our readers need? What are they looking for right now? And most of them are looking for resources on where to find food, where to get groceries, where to go, get takeout, all that stuff. So we decided to develop a takeout finder, which is basically a database for restaurants so they can put in their information, and then anybody can come on to Jersey Bites and use the takeout finder and search their town, search their county, whatever, and click right over to a restaurant to order takeout. And then, we're doing other articles on just, people that are being heroes in this crisis. So, this bakery that's giving away free bread, this beer broadcast. It's just all of these different tools that people need and are looking for right now. So that's us being creative and scurrying to create content that we know our readers are really looking for at this time. This was one of which I knew was going to be a very popular post. And like I said before, looking at your post insights and your analytics is super important because, yes, it got a lot of likes. That's great. But what I'm more interested in is the number of shares that it got, the number of saves that it got. And then if you look down here, how many people visited my profile as a result of sharing this? And how many people clicked over to my website as a result of sharing this? So those are great numbers, right? And this was an article I wrote about restaurant wholesalers that are now delivering to homes. And I knew that was going to be incredibly popular. I ordered from them. I was excited to find out about it. So I decided to write an article about it and share it. Down here in the insights, you'll see this is a nice number too, that 19% of the people that saw this and engaged with it were not following Jersey Bites. So I got in front of 19% of this 6,500 didn't know about me. And so that brings new followers, that brings, new website clicks, all of that good stuff. But you need to be coming out with stuff that people want to share. So, sharing comes from high quality content and community. So high quality content, your photos need to be clear. They can't be fuzzy. They can't be at weird angles. A photo is something that especially on Instagram, that people are expecting to be decent, or at least, something that's really, really relevant. Like people with masks on right now, people are really, really engaging with that. Your copy needs to be well written, clever, funny, if that's brand appropriate, ask for input, have a clear call to action. Mix it up. Please have, don't have just inspirational quotes or, pictures of your dog or whatever it is. I have a corgi, he walks on wheels, he gets lots of likes, but I don't make every post about my corgi. Every once in a while, if he's looking cute for a holiday, I'll put him in there because that's part of my life. That's part of my personality. But I'm not making it all about corgis because that's not what Jersey Bites is about. We're all about food. We're all about resources for our followers. So, mix it up. Make sure that when somebody looks at you for the first time, they don't know anything about you, that they look at your social media and say, oh, this is very interesting. I want to follow this person. And then, always keep sharing in mind. So why would somebody want to share this? Why would they share it? It's going to either make them look good, it's going to make them feel helpful, or it's going to make them look like they're on top of things, right? So keep those things in mind when you're creating content.
So in terms of creating content, somebody's asked, how often should you be posting on Facebook? And I'll take it for any platform or any channel.
Well, the algorithm, the way it is, you're never going to overwhelm your followers because you're only getting to about 1 to 5% of your followers with a post. So if you've got lots of content and it's good content, you could be posting 10 times a day and it wouldn't matter. Very few people can do that. But I know we have clients that are publications, are magazines, and actually a nightly news show where they've got so much content they could be posting every hour, right? It just really depends on how much you can create, and you don't want to be throwing stuff up there just to throw stuff up there. You want to have your stuff be meaningful. So if you can only put together one meaningful post a week, then that's what you get. But you can't overwhelm, honestly, unless you're just spamming. So, I mean, I can post 3 times a day on my Instagram. As long as it's good stuff, people will love it.
And so another question that I think kind of goes hand in hand with that is it better to repost others' content as long as you're giving credit to who you're posting it to increase your reputation?
Perfect segue to this slide right now. If you can't create, curate. So I do a mixture of all of this, especially right now because restaurants need our help, right? So if I see a great post about, that a restaurant's put up, or if I see something that a charity is doing, a food drive, something that's relevant to my brand, so it's always around food, I would share that and give them credit. This is this logo right here is the app that I use. It's called Repost Plus, I think. I pay for this Repost app because I hate all of the ads and all of the garbage that the free apps throw at you in order to get to use their tool. So yes, absolutely. You can, if it's of interest to your following, you can do that. It's always good to ask and get approval in text form or whatever, message form on Instagram, if it's okay that you share. That's the prudent way to do it. I don't do that much because I know that people, when I'm sharing to close to 18,000 people in the restaurant field, they're thrilled. So I don't usually have to ask. They usually just thank me the minute I do it. But if you don't have a big following, if it's something that they don't really know who you are, it's probably a good idea to send them a DM and say, "I love this. Would you mind if I share it and give you full credit for it?"
Great, thank you.
Mm-hmm. So just a couple of great examples of curating. This is a Facebook group that was started by Joanne Carroll. I'm going to move my little chat box because I can't see. So this is in 365 things to know and do in the Chatham and Madison area. I think there's a bunch of different 365 pages that are groups that have been started, but this was such a brilliant thing for her to do because now she's got, I don't know how many members, 2,000 or something members, and it's all people in the community that are sharing information about what's going on in the community. So she doesn't even have to come up with her own content. Everybody else is adding content. She does have to monitor it, and she does have to make sure, she's got some rules here, and she's got a message about if you're a competitor, basically go away and start your own thing. So this is just one really smart way. If you can come up with a way to kind of crowdsource information in your community and be the ringleader of this crowdsourcing, that's pretty cool. And then this is another example of killer curating. This is Eats by Lex on Instagram. She's got, getting up to 55,000 followers. And all she does is post other people's photos of outrageous food. So she gives everybody full credit from what she's posting with a tag back to the original poster. But she has built this following strictly up by curating. I checked her account today and she's posting a lot less. She had been posting like 3, 4, 5 times a day. So I guess with all of this going on, she doesn't feel like she needs to be doing that frequently. But anyway, those are just 2 examples. I'm sure you can find many, many others. Like I said, I do a mixture of all of it. I do a mixture of creating my own content and curating content when I think it's appropriate.
So I think we have a question from Michelle, which is somewhat relevant to this.
Okay.
Which is how does a sole proprietor create content, upload it, find the channels best to share the content and analyze it, etc.?
Honestly, you can get an intern to help you do that. As a sole proprietor, I know I was a sole proprietor for a long time. You have to pick your battles and you have to figure out where your time is best spent. Honestly, you could be doing some paid advertising on Facebook and Instagram and not having to create so much content on your own. So that's an option, or hiring an outside service to do it for you. So they would come in and talk with you, meet with you, develop a strategy, figure out the type of content that you're going to be offering. And it really is, it's like I said, I can't sugarcoat it. It's marketing. It's something that has to be done by a professional, or has to have at least some time dedicated to it to really make it work. And if you're trying to do your business and run your business and all of that, it's very hard to switch gears and then become, put your marketing hat on and have to do that at the same time.
And then just one practical question, which has been asked. Can you have a Facebook business page without having a personal page? No. Okay. So you have to have a personal page, but you don't have to be, engaged on your personal page. So you can create a personal page, but the two, I'm thinking they're not tied together, right?
They're only tied together in that you have to log in as you, but then you toggle over to the business page, and then you're completely the business page. There's no intermingling. I've had clients that just create a Jane Doe Facebook profile, and then they can create their business page. So, it's not like everybody used to be very fearful that their personal would get intermingled with their page. But, that was back when people were using profiles as businesses back in the day before they had business pages. And then once they introduced business pages, it's, very separate unless you want to be seen on your business page.
And one quick question, and I'll let you go on, is the Repost app. What was the name of that again? A couple of people have asked us to.
I can send it to you afterwards, like a screenshot of it, because there's a bunch of them and they all call themselves Repost. So I want to make sure that you guys get the right one. It shows up as Repost Plus on my phone.
Okay, so for the people who
can you see that?
For the people who are asking, we can send you the we can
that little guy. Yeah. Yes, I can send it to you. Yep. We're going to send you this. We're going to send you this presentation too. So right.
Yeah, we are. So everybody who's on the call, we are going to send this presentation afterwards. So it's shown in the presentation?
No, but I can add it to the tools. I can add it to the tool slide before I send it to you.
Excellent. Thank you.
Okay, so we talked about the creating side, and like I said, some people are not creators. So the flip side is networking, and I have to say, my first job out of college, I was the executive director of a chamber of commerce. So this was before the internet and before computers in offices, really. So I learned how powerful networking was from a really young age. And so when all of these tools came about, I was like, wow, I can network in my pajamas. This is amazing. So every channel gives you the opportunity to reach out and make meaningful connections. Really, every single, you know, you have your DMs on Instagram, you've got your private messaging on Twitter, everything. There's a way to connect with people privately or publicly and network. This is a fabulous example of what I'm talking about. And I mentioned this to Claire yesterday, and she said, oh, you have to put it in. So Bobby Flay, it's Flav City, I think it is, on YouTube. He's got this huge YouTube following. He's a cookbook author. He's a keto chef and low carb recipe guy. So he's been doing these. Oh, and he's fabulous. He goes into like Costco and Trader Joe's and tells you what to buy and what not to buy, and then he gets kicked out. So it's really cool. But he, since he can't do that right now, he's doing these live YouTube shows, and they're very entertaining. It's he and his wife and his baby. Anyway, so he was mentioning his cookbook, and I have a cookbook, obviously. So I'm looking for a new publisher. So I just put in a message into the live chat, who is your publisher? He read it on camera as he was doing other people's reading on camera and answering questions. And he said, oh, Jersey Bites, I love my publisher. It's this. Email me tomorrow. I'll introduce you to my publisher. Sure enough, I emailed him the next day, and he emailed me back, and he introduced me to his publisher, and I have a call with them next week. So I never even expected that to happen when I tuned into his show. But it pays to ask a question if it's relevant and strike up a conversation. You never know where it's going to lead. So wish me luck with that publisher, because I really wanted to get a second book out. So just going over a little bit about the different tools and how you can use them to network on LinkedIn. Of course, LinkedIn is the king of the networking tools. Advanced search tool is a fabulous. I'll go over that in the next slide. You know, sharing helpful articles. I use it mostly if I've written an article that I want to get out there, especially right now with all the helpful stuff that we're putting out there. Or if an article's been written about me, you know, tagging appropriate people that you want to have a meeting with, or, you know, I have somebody that I want to have a meeting with, and she was highlighted in the newspaper the other day. So I shared that article. I tagged her. Who knows? Maybe that'll make her notice. You know, engage with Instagram posts and Instagram stories is a great way to get noticed. Because not a lot of people are engaging with stories. So if you're one that, if you want to work with a company and they're posting stories and you're regularly engaging with them, it might get you noticed. It might get them noticed, or you noticed by them. On Twitter, you know, the journalists are all over Twitter. So I actually have created a list of journalists that are relevant to me. And so I can follow them and engage with them. And they also tag us and stuff, and I share their stuff. So if you're looking to get coverage in newspapers and magazines, that could be a place where you could start to build a relationship with these people. And then, you know, your own Facebook profile can be used if you don't spam people, to just engage with people that you might want to get to know, that you've met out there at a networking event or something like that. I'm open to people connecting with me. I don't share a lot of real personal stuff on my Facebook profile, so I'm not worried about that. So I have chefs that reach out to me using their profiles and that kind of thing. Any more questions before we?
Yeah, we have a few. I'm just trying to think. So somebody just a couple of quick questions. We have a number of open questions. So for everybody who's posted questions, we're going to try to get to every somebody So what about hashtags on LinkedIn? That was a quick question that somebody had.
They're encouraging it. I don't know how useful it is. I don't know how many people are actually using hashtags to search. But I always use a couple that are relevant, you know, 2 or 3. I don't know if they're doing anything though, honestly.
Then there was a question, this might be for a little bit later, but how do you avoid Facebook rejecting ads? It seems like they've got more stringent lately in terms of their ad content.
I'm going to talk about advertising in just a slide or 2 from now.
Okay. Then we have, I'm trying to think ahead of what slides we have to in terms of relevant And marketing campaigns. Okay, I think we can go ahead and then we'll come back to some of these questions.
Okay.
Actually, sorry, you know what I do? I have one more.
Okay.
How important is using videos and pictures in your posts?
Very important. We don't post anything without an image or, something. Never use just text.
Okay.
Yeah. Because, this is how people consume information on social media. Boom, 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 boom.
So it's really got to be something that's catching to the eye.
You have to capture their attention with something. That's why video is so great, because usually it's moving. But they're not, very few consumers are reading everything. First you got to catch their attention, and then your copy hopefully will get them to take action of some way, but that's why images are so important.
Great.
Okay, so we're just talking quick about LinkedIn and the ways you can use LinkedIn to network. In their advanced search tool, which is you just mouse over this area and this will pop up. You can search people, you can search jobs, you can search content, which that's relatively new. So you can search the content that's being posted of your first degree connections. So what I really thought that was cool, because then it makes engaging with people easier. Like if you see somebody has posted something and you interact with it, you respond to it, it starts a conversation, hopefully. And that's why building your network and getting more and more and more first connections is so important, because then you can have those conversations. And that's why, connect with me. Hey, I would love to connect with you guys. And I've got like 7,500 followers or connections on LinkedIn. And that opens you guys up to having a much broader second degree connection sphere, which makes searching easier for you. So feel free to send me a connection request. And actually, I'll put that link, because my name's so generic. I'll put that link in the last slide before I send it to everybody, so you have a direct link to that. Remind me. So you can also, if you've got companies that you definitely want to work with, you can go into the company section, see who is on LinkedIn that works there. See what connection, maybe they're a second degree connection to you. Or, looking for, we ran an ad for a construction company targeting facility managers on LinkedIn. So you can target different, what's the word I'm looking for? Titles. You could, what's the title of the person that would normally contract you for services? So you can do that kind of search and start building your list that way. I don't really use the schools option or the groups option. These are usually my go-to, the people and the companies, but now I think content is going to be one of my go-tos as well. Any LinkedIn questions while we're here?
There was, hang on. How do you feel about LinkedIn advertising for business to business? Is that more effective than Facebook?
Oh, it depends on the business. It really does. And how big your target market is. But, we've done just a little bit of advertising for clients on LinkedIn using the InMail type of advertising. So you get that sponsored post that comes into your InMail. The very cool thing about LinkedIn is that you can create a pixel on, oh my gosh, I keep seeing Instagram, on LinkedIn, and that you would install on your website. And if you're driving traffic to your website from an ad campaign, after you reach 300 people that visited your site, the pixel will give you a report of what companies have been visiting your website. So it won't tell you the people, but it will tell you the companies that have been on your website. So if you're looking for, that's a great lead gen. So we give one of our printing clients a list of all the companies that have visited their website every month, so that their salespeople can start digging and seeing who's the person that they should be finding at that company to try to follow up if they didn't submit a contact form, kind of thing. So does that answer the question? Oh.
I think it does, yeah.
Okay. All right, so organic versus paid on Facebook and Instagram. I liken it to waiting for people to come to your organic post is like waiting for the rain to water your yard in Arizona versus turning on the hose with paid advertising and getting immediate results. Immediate results that are powerfully targeted, very low cost per click if you're doing it right, and those rapid results that you can get depending on your budget. So this is just an example of an ad that we ran for Max's. I'm sure everybody, if you're from Monmouth County, you know Max's Bar and Grill. They had just reopened after a renovation, and we were getting the word out about that. We spent $1,200 over the course of this ad, but it ran for, I think, 10 weeks. We had over 2,500 people click over to the website for Max's. It reached 32,000 people and had over 96,000 impressions. And the cost per click was 33 cents. We've seen better. We have gotten down to like 11 cents per click. But anywhere in this area is fantastic. And then if you look over to the results of the ad, you can see that 153 people left comments. Many of those comments were, yay, we're so excited. I can't wait. We always love Max's, all of that. And it had 232 shares. So I challenge anybody to find an ad platform, an ad medium that brings with it all of these reviews and endorsements and love from customers, right? I mean, where else can you get that kind of advertising? So, you know, we obviously, when you have an ad campaign, you are going to get people that leave negative comments, or they're going to ask stupid questions, or, you know, but for, you know, by and large, if you're doing it right, it's going to have a good response, and you're going to get, because, you know, the targeting is unbelievable on Facebook and Instagram. It's not as good as it used to be. They really crack down, and they don't allow us to do, you know, as much of the buying behaviors and that kind of thing that we could target, but you can still target very specifically. You know, if you're a brick and mortar, just targeting like a 5-mile radius of your company really has, oh good, lots of people interested in having a paid advertising webinar. Excellent. So yeah, so there's go ahead.
Just a quick time check, because we're running up against,
I'm almost done.
We have about 5 or 6 minutes left.
Okay, I think we are getting very close. Okay, oops, so this is the slide where we were gonna do our poll, but you already did the poll, so we can move on.
I jumped the gun, sorry.
So this is my wrap up, basically just sharing some of our favorite tools. Some of them are free, and some of them are, you know, for fee. But this is what we use every day to manage our social clients. And, you know, some of the cool things like this link.bio, you know, it's very frustrating on Instagram to only have one link in your bio, and you can't share links on Instagram. So this app allows you to add multiple links from your bio. So, you know, if you've got different articles, if you've got, you know, an about us page and a product page and all that kind of stuff, you can break them down into that bio, which is super cool. And this wave.video down here, social calendar, that's a fun, it's free, and it just has all the national holidays. So if you're looking to create content, you know, everybody talks about the different national holidays, and if it's relevant to your brand, that's a fun and easy way to just kind of keep track of it all. So that's that. I will share that with you. I will add the Repost app to this, and I'll take any questions that are left.
All right, so we have a few questions. So I'll get to a couple of them. For the people who we don't answer your questions, we have a log of them. We can reach out to you after the webinar with some answers for you, or you can feel free to reach out to us you can find a mentor at monmouthscore.org, and we'll be able to help you more with your answers there as well. So let me see. In terms of marketing campaigns, what kind of length should they be? And should there always be a consistent message?
No, I don't want to say there always should be a consistent message, because every campaign is different. What I would say is you have to look at the size of your audience and how long it's going to take you with the budget that you have to reach them. So we usually look at the frequency number on ad campaigns to say, to tell us how many times an individual has seen this ad. And we want to get up to around 6 or 7 times, because that means that, you know, just like an ad in the newspaper, they'll tell you that people need to see it about 7 times for them to take action. So if you've got an ad campaign running and you're, you know, let's say you ran your ad campaign for 2 weeks, or you ran your ad campaign for, I would keep looking at it. So let's say we ran our ad campaign for 2 weeks. Our frequency was only 2.3. Well, we should run that ad. We should continue running that ad, right? There's another really great thing you should be doing with your ads is ABC testing of your ads. So use 3 different images, the same copy, and let Facebook tell you which ad is performing the best. And then Facebook will filter the money towards that better performing ad. And then you can take it, you can test for the copy, and you can create more versions of that copy to see if you can even get a better result for the ad campaign that you're running. So that's when I said, like, test, analyze, you know, reconfigure what needs to be reconfigured, and get it out there again. That's really the smartest way to advertise. So there's no one straight cut answer. It really depends on how big your audience is, how big your budget is, you know, all of that.
Excellent. All right. So Deborah, thank you so much for all your time and your input and your information. That's been absolutely wonderful. For everybody who's on the call, thank you for attending. We really appreciate it. We do have some great guest speakers lined up for the next few weeks. We have next week at 3 p.m. we have Nicole Papanou. I may well have just said her name very incorrectly, so I apologize. But she is the owner of Your Instructional Designer, and she's joining us to speak on a seminar called Tear Up the Playbook, and it's about communication planning for post-COVID-19 world. So the details of that are on our Facebook page, Eventbrite and Meetup. Feel free to sign up, take a look. I think even you'll find that after this webinar, it will take you to a link to sign straight up. Coming up in the next couple of weeks, we actually have Senator Venugopal is going to be speaking on, I believe, the 15th of May. And we have Jeff Vassar, who's the Executive Director at New Jersey Division of Travel and Tourism. He's going to be speaking on the 22nd of May. More details about those webinars will be on our Facebook page, and also again, Eventbrite and Meetup. And just a reminder about SCORE. So we are a free business mentoring service to local businesses. So if anybody would like a mentor to help in any way with what's going on in the current world or in the future world, to talk about your business, to get some advice, to just have a shoulder to lean on or to bounce ideas off, reach out. You can find a list of all our local mentors on the SCORE website, and you can request a meeting with one. If there isn't a mentor that has specific experience that you're looking for, don't worry, we have a big network. So reach out to someone who perhaps their profile speaks to you, and they can always draw in other mentors and other resources to help. So again, it's free business mentoring. So use it, spread the word, share it to your friends and colleagues and other small business owners. And again, we thank you so much for joining, and we will see everybody next week, I hope. Have a great weekend and stay safe.
Have a great weekend.
Bye-bye.